of it, and I'm just going to kind of give you a stream of consciousness of stuff I see when I play it. It'll probably be nitpicky because that's just kind of how I am, and that's how I see stuff. So, take it at face value. Also, it may or may not be intermittently interrupted by cat stuff, so just heads up. So far, we've been good this evening, but you never know when he's just going to flip out and decide that he needs to attack everything in my house and immediately require my attention. So, fingers crossed. All right, off the bat, dig the lighting. Lighting is nice and dramatic. I like it. It's not so low that you can't see anything, but definitely spices up the visuals, makes the surroundings pop. I like the theme choice. The color is nice. Yeah, the sculpting all looks pretty solid so far. Environmental work is nice. I dig this kind of riverbed thing that's got going. Let's see. This is an infinitely minor thing, but I just feel like it's got this like neon, unnaturally like green, rough fringe thing going that I don't quite get personally. But there's nothing wrong with it either. Bunker sculpting looks solid. Yeah, like this is a solid start. I'm consider me intrigued. Yeah, I can't say I'm a fan of those trees there on this hole. I just bump them off to the side a little bit. I don't think those are necessary. They're not really gonna come into play with your shots. They just block the visuals. So it's not like they don't add any challenge per se. They just kind of block the nice visuals that you'd have there otherwise. That's a good effort. But still a very strong opening hole. I'm liking it. You have my attention. All right. I like the environment. Um, it might be a little tight. Like I think, you could remove these trees, maybe add some behind the hole, and that would frame this whole area nicely. Because you have all this great stuff with this whole lake and the pond here. One sec. Nope. Nope, we're good. I was just hearing all sorts of concerning cat noise. Like, nope, he's good. Yeah, all these trees don't need to be here. They just block the views that you have going otherwise. So you want to show off this nice little rock and planting work. That's that's the part of the whole. That's the that's what you want to show off, and you can't see any of it. Yes, he's charging in the litter box at the moment. This is a little bit of a dicey pin spot. Um, Legal, yes, but right on that edge of being a little concerning to play. Yeah, it's like that. That light rough texture just looks so jarring. It's just, yeah, it's got that neon, like almost radioactive green color going. It just doesn't quite fit in its environment. It it almost brings too much attention on itself. You want it to blend just a little bit. Digging this whole concept so far, though. Think you could probably nudge the sculpting a little bit to show off those bunkers. These get a little tight. I'm not sure. Oof, this is a par 4? Um, This feels very much like it should be a reachable par 5. It quite could be. Like, if I had to guess, this to me feels like a publishing error. Like, you accidentally bumped it from a 4 to a 5 and just didn't catch it. I'm definitely of the par is irrelevant group, but this feels very much like it's a strategic par 5. It doesn't feel like it plays to me like a long par 4. It's definitely a little on the penal side for a par 4 of this length. You would want to invite your approach shots a little more than that. Yeah, and in contrast to the first two that we played, I feel like this one, it has the opposite problem in that it needs to be a little bit more open, where it feels like these holes are crammed in these little small spots, and they could probably use a little bit of space to breathe. Let them take up a bigger stage. They're great, awesome, interesting holes. It's just you know, they could kind of fill their environment a little more versus being, kind of jammed in a little narrow string of trees. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like this one is, it's been pretty solid. I like this whole concept. Sculpting looks good. Bunkers look solid. And then these bunkers look weird to me. Like contrasted with these guys, which are big and well sculpted. They fit the hole and the environment, and they look unique. And there's just kind of four little bitty, like single shaped bunkers that don't fit. Like those to me feel a little jarring in contrast to the other ones that you've done so far. Like they just seem just a little tacked on. I think at 610 yards, like this is a guaranteed three shotter. I think you can spice up that second shot a little bit more. Like, you know, like you could emphasize that kind of bottle aspect of it and make it okay. Well, you can get it really close to the hole if you want, but your shot gets trickier. Versus, I'll give you this great layup area at like 110 yards or 150 yards or something. And then the other key to designing a long par five is really it's just a short par three in which the strategy dictates where you tee off from, essentially. So, to me, you want that short par three green for a long par five. Like if it's always three shots, because you're almost always hitting a wedge into it. Let's see. Yeah, this might be. This is a little bit of a small green for such a long hole. Definitely playable, but like to me, it's you want your long par threes to feel a little bit more dramatic and a little grander in size. Yeah, I'm digging the dried up riverbed. Like that is an awesome idea executed very well. The planting there is great. I think I'd love to see a little bit more kind of planting elsewhere. Like it's one of those where you've taken this idea and you've put all this obvious time and effort into it and just executed it at a really high level, so that now everything else around the plot feels a little anticlimactic compared to that. You could have, like, all these other areas around the holes that could be jazzed up. You're almost like a victim of your own success there. Of, like, look, I've like, you've hit such a high bar that now you look at the rest of the course and go, oh well, what could you have done with these areas? These could use some love too. Yeah, planting on this has been awesome so far. Yeah, obviously you don't need to put like that, the same amount of love and effort into it as you would like your signature pieces, but you could definitely spice it up a little. It's like, throw some underbrush in there, like some rocks, things like that. Just some a little bit of visual interest, so that it's not just trees and then kind of flat bare ground. So this is autumn, correct? Yeah, like you can always go and start playing with like buried trees and stuff, and get like a whole lot of variety in texture color. Like, that's a great thing to play around with on this theme, to me, is that you can get all sorts of visual interest just with the base terrain if you just play around with the um, like burying some trees and bringing out that base texture, the kind of rocky, dried up grass, whatever look. Man, you guys have been going really easy on me this evening. There's just, you know, they've all been just straightforward. It's like I only have to point out one or two things. Or maybe I'm just in the mood for it. Yeah. Let's see. Guess we'll just plop one out over here. Alright, what are my other options? Okay, like this is a good example of like how you make uh, like a par, like, or a three shot par five strategic. Like, I think you could, yeah, I don't know, like the whole hitting over the trees. Um, like I'm not sure how I would execute that. It feels a little arbitrary of like, oh, hit it down this path, but really you can just hit it over the trees. I don't know. I think like I would probably just make them a little sparser and a little shorter, and it's just the challenge is hitting the ball over the trees versus the like hitting the gap, because I think you can hit it high enough that the gap isn't an issue. Yeah, this green might be a little dicey, but otherwise I really dig the hole. If on a board, I feel like you would have lots to say. Which one is yours? I gotta go look that one up. Oh, yours is next. Okay, yours is Caldera Furiosa. Admittedly, I have not played that one yet, but I was definitely intrigued uh, by the photos. Hey, we survived that one. All right. I suppose with the clip I've been going through these courses, and now that the designer of the next one's in the chat, suppose I really don't have a excuse you know, to stop here. I guess I gotta go get that last one in there. Yeah, I think this is another hole where I don't think that tree on the corner really needs to be there. It doesn't come into play. It just blocks out the nice visuals that you have otherwise. Yeah, you have this nice stage that you've created for this hole, and it just doesn't kind of fill it. It's this, like the playing surface, you gotta at the very least double the area. Like that green should be twice as big. That fairway apron should almost go to the green or the bridge. Like maybe sprinkle a bunker, maybe two bunkers in there, at the very least for framing it. Yeah, this one's kind of a miss, I think. Especially it's like there's so much potential. Like this whole shot is framed so nicely. And just the actual hole itself just doesn't capitalize on what I think is the best potential spot on the course. Like this is a signature hole spot, and it has the lighting. Everything is coming together. In favor of this hole, and then you have like this incredibly tiny green that's just way. This is too small for any shot. I think this is kind of a pitch and putt green, where like that pin's not legal. It's too close to the edge, and there's almost no place to legally pin anything on this thing. To me, I think like you've had hit after hit on this course. Of all of the holes have been really solid, and this is the one miss. And to me, I feel like it's the miss in the spot that you could just absolutely knock one out of the park there. I was gonna say, Jive, what's your one? I might have. I've done some of the ones at the bottom already. Oh, okay, yep. Yours is one toward the bottom that I haven't played yet. That being said, like I've done Sea Cliffs, I've done Los Condenos, I've done half the ones between us and you, so I only have a couple courses to play before I get to yours. I don't know if I'll get to it tonight though. Who knows? Maybe I will. At the very least, I'll do one more, and probably take a bit of a break. But I could potentially do one or two more tonight. I don't have to get up early or anything. I only have to be up by like 10:30 or so. I've got I've got a 12:20 tea time tomorrow. It's our golf league's championship match. But it's really convenient for work, but it's not all that convenient for where I live. So I gotta essentially commute to work on my day off to go play golf. Not the end of the world. Like to me, this it might be the slightest touch on the small side. Like the green is fine for this size hole, but like I'd like to see just a little bit more like off green playing surface. Like maybe make a like another bunker, kind of make this one pop a little bit more apron, maybe some runoffs, that sort of thing for this hole. But the green is fine for this length hole. Like this is the kind of thing I would want to have seen on that other one. What state? Maryland. Kind of in the Baltimore area. this has been a really solid effort so far. I think, like, if I remember correctly, it was no, it was a different one that started on. Yeah, this started on a par four. It was the last one I played that started with like a gettable par five. So I think the par fours on this course have been solid. There's just so far I haven't seen a ton of variety in par fives. Um, like they're all like none of them. It's missing like a gettable risk reward par five. There's been a lot of long ones. I mean, I gotta think. This one was gettable, I think, but it was not really a risk reward hole. And then the par threes have been kind of a miss for me. Like, yeah, like this has definitely been a theme so far of they're all long and just they're the greens don't match the size of the hole for me. They're always a great opportunity to kind of show off your visual, you know, like to pull out all the stops in terms of framing and presentation, and they've all been kind of misses so far. Like I think the blandest holes on this course have all been the par threes. None of them have been bad. The last one was a little iffy, but or not the last one, but 11. 11 was a little iffy. And the rest of them have been fine, but they've just been very very standard. It's like, okay, here's a green, hit the green. Like you could definitely jazz those up from a playing perspective and especially from a visual perspective. Cuz you've brought a lot of heat elsewhere out on this course, and that's the par threes are definitely your spot to shine in that department, and they haven't really delivered. Was this the one that had six par fives and six par threes? I think it had to be because I feel like I've played a ton of both of those. I'll have to check the scorecard after this hole. No, I forgot to check. Dang it. Oh well, I can do it on the next one. I think like this hole looks like it wasn't quite smoothed out. Like I don't mind the really bumpy terrain thing, but it's not really something that you've gone with on the rest of the holes. So then it doesn't feel like that's how the course is. It just feels like I forgot to flatten out the or smooth out the playing surfaces on this hole. I mean, otherwise, like, it's framed nicely. It plays well. And this is a solid hole. It's just that all of a sudden you've kind of introduced this like really wild undulating terrain that I haven't seen anywhere else on the course. So it feels a little out of place. But really solid hole. I like this one. Ooh. Like it ever so slightly less now. Everyone should know that, obviously how I think of or what I think of your course is dependent on how I shoot on it. So yeah, make super super easy courses, obviously. Yeah, funny. I think like again, all the surfacing and sculpting and that sort of stuff has been executed well throughout, but funnily enough, I think this course has been missing playing interest in its par threes and its par fives, which is a lot of holes on this course. Ooh, there's a good one. But like the environment has been good. That dried riverbed was awesome. Like some of the stuff around the lake, environment stuff was great. Let's see. Yeah, yeah. So 6 par 5s and 6 par 3s. So, or somewhere around there, because I think it was par 71. So it's missing one of those. But yeah, like that's a really solid course. I would just love to see, like, you got jazz up the par 5s and par 3s. You set a high bar with your par 4s, and the rest of the course didn't quite hit that mark. But yeah, otherwise I like a really solid course. I enjoyed it. It's fun to play. It's really pretty. Like, this is definitely I think this will do well in the contest. Yeah, so thank you for the course, and thanks everybody for tuning in. I think I'll do one more. I can do Furiosa next. So I'll just cut the stream quickly so I can chop it up for YouTube, and I'll be right back in a minute. Thanks for tuning in.